Today, I am going to tell you two stories. The first story was sent to me by Thomas from Salisbury Plain, and the second story was sent by Emily from Manchester, UK. Emily mentions that she originally belongs to York, England, but she's currently residing in Manchester. The incident she shared is so chilling that it will send shivers down your spine. Similarly, another horrifying story sent by Thomas from Salisbury Plain describes something eerie that still haunts the vast landscape at night. According to Thomas, even today in Salisbury Plain, as soon as the darkness spreads, one can witness strange entities wandering in the open fields. This part of the landscape, which stretches endlessly, is vast and mysterious. It is said that supernatural beings, often referred to as spirits, inhabit desolate areas, forests, rivers and seas, places where humans are sparse. Even today, if someone wishes to witness them, they can venture deep into the plain, sit silently, and feel their presence. However, if a person does not want to encounter them, they remain unseen. There was a time when there were no proper roads in Salisbury Plain. Only the locals knew how to navigate through the open land by following the stars. They could determine directions based on celestial patterns. Back then, there were no landmarks, just endless fields. One such local, an elderly man named William, was known for his wisdom. Whenever someone faced a dilemma, they sought William's advice. Traveling through the plain at night was perilous. Yet William once decided to make a journey to the town, despite everyone's warnings. He borrowed a bicycle from a neighbor and set off late in the evening. As he pedaled through the dark, he noticed a small goat standing in the middle of the path. Thinking it was lost, he picked it up and secured it on the back of his bicycle with a rope. However, as he continued cycling, he felt the bicycle becoming heavier. Stopping to check, he was horrified to see that the goat's legs had grown unnaturally long, stretching into the darkness. He immediately realized that this was no ordinary goat, but something supernatural. Frightened, he untied it and sped away without looking back. As he continued his journey, he suddenly felt his bicycle becoming heavy again. Looking back, he saw two frail children sitting on the back seat. They stared at him with hollow eyes and whispered, "Uncle, take us with you." William, now terrified, ordered them to get down. The children hesitated, but eventually jumped off the bicycle. As he rode away, an old woman appeared in the middle of the road, calling out to the children in an unfamiliar language. She warned William not to continue his journey at night and urged him to rest in a nearby hut until morning. Initially skeptical, he ignored her and continued forward. But to his horror, he found himself looping back to the same spot multiple times. Realizing he was being manipulated by unseen forces, he took a deep breath, gathered his courage, and rode straight ahead without turning back. Eventually, he reached his destination safely, but the memory of that night haunted him forever. The second story was sent by Emily from Manchester, UK. She recalls an incident from her childhood when she was just 7 years old. Even now, at the age of 37, she remembers it vividly. She was very attached to her mother and often felt safe sleeping beside her. One night, around 5 a.m., she woke up feeling uneasy and decided to sleep next to her mother. As she lay near her mother's feet, she suddenly felt an eerie presence. When she opened her eyes, she saw something that left her paralyzed with fear. A floating head of a woman hovering over her mother's body. The head had no torso, just a face and neck suspended in midair. The woman's face was covered with an Egyptian-style veil adorned with pearls. Her green eyes glowed intensely, exuding an otherworldly beauty. But within moments, the expression on her face shifted from enchanting to terrifying. Her eyes darkened, her gaze became menacing, and Emily felt an overwhelming wave of fear. Frozen in terror, she closed her eyes and began reciting Psalm 23:4. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. A verse from the Bible. She kept repeating it until she heard her mother's voice calling her. When she finally opened her eyes, the apparition had vanished. Shaken, she told her mother what she'd seen. Her mother comforted her, but even today, they both wonder what that entity was and why it had been hovering over her mother. Both of these stories raise questions about the existence of supernatural beings. Many believe that spirits can sense human fear and target those with weak spiritual auras. This is why it is said that the stronger one's faith, the less likely they are to be affected by such entities.